Back again, people. It's LFC Plavi here, and it is Liverpool 4, Newcastle United 1. It was an absolute bashing, absolute walloping of Newcastle at Anfield. Now, Newcastle started the game fast and furious. And when I say fast and furious, they were all over us. But we always know that with Newcastle, they get tired, they lose legs in the second half of games. So we always knew that it was coming. It was coming because they had a very difficult game against PSG in the Champions League in midweek. So there was absolutely no way they were going to be able to go full throttle for the entire 90 minutes of the game. So all we had to do was to hold on, weather the storm a little bit, and make sure that we pounce on them, hit them where it hurts the most when we get the opportunity. And that is exactly what Liverpool did today. Now, the most enjoyable thing about this particular win is the fact that Liverpool scored 4 beautiful goals. Maybe the fourth one wasn't as pretty, but it's still a beautiful goal in my books. But we scored 4 excellent goals without having to resort to set pieces, corners, like some teams do. There are some teams in this league who cannot play a game of football without scoring a set piece goal. We all know who that team is. I'm not going to mention any names. But Liverpool scored and played beautiful football today without having to resort to any set pieces. And that is quite refreshing to see in the Premier League, because this Premier League is turning into something else that probably we cannot really call football, because what is coming into this league, I just wish and hope that we'll get out of this mess, because it is an absolute mess. It is not football. Now back to the game. Liverpool had a very shaky first 30 minutes of the game. It wasn't very pretty to watch, and it kind of almost felt like it is going to be the same old that we've seen throughout the entire season. Liverpool were going to sort of throw the game away. They weren't going to put up the energy and the fight that they are expected to put up. So that was the first 30 or so minutes. We gave away a lot of corners in that first even 5 minutes of the game. We gave away throw-ins. We were a bit shaky at the back. We were playing with a bit of fear. You could see in the eyes of the players that they weren't quite sure. The confidence wasn't very high. But I think right after Anthony Gordon got his goal for Newcastle, the entire stadium, the crowd, and everybody decided that no, we are not going to sit down and watch these lots come to our home ground and humiliate us. So we are going to retaliate, and it is going to be a big one. And that is exactly what we saw today. Individual performances that I want to mention at the back, Ibrahim Konate, kudos to him, because it's been a difficult 2 weeks for him, with his dad passing away and him having to go through a lot of grief. But he came back and was an absolute stalwart. He was very, very good in defense today, and he got a goal as his bonus today, and it is fully deserved. Ibrahim Konate. At the back, I also think that Milos Kerkez had a good game today. He didn't allow anybody to have his way, at least on the left side of Liverpool's defense. I think he was very, very solid. Also going forward, he was decent. In midfield, Alexis McAllister. Maybe that is where I would say there was a bit of problems, because in the first 30 or so minutes where Liverpool were suffering, the midfield was too wide open. They were able to pass through us very easily. And I also think it is to some extent as a result of the fact that Salah was playing and wasn't tracking back as much as you would want to see him track back. So it left a little more ground for someone like McAllister to cover. And we all know that McAllister is not one of the fastest players in the team, and covering large distances and large spaces, defending big spaces is not his strength. So it kind of left these two guys, McAllister and Gravenberg, a bit isolated in the midfield. And I think that is why we're getting run over in that first 30 minutes, because we're missing the energy and the enthusiasm of Dominic Szoboszlai in that midfield. I must say that when I saw the lineup, I didn't like the fact that Szoboszlai was playing at right back. I would have thought that we would play maybe Jones at right back instead and put Szoboszlai in the midfield. But that is what the manager went for. He put Szoboszlai at right back. And I actually do think that he had a good game today at right back. He was helping us with the build up from the back. He was putting in some long accurate crosses, long balls, straight into the chest of Hugo Ekitike and sometimes to his feet. And I did like the way Hugo Ekitike was battling up front with the Newcastle defenders. He wasn't allowing them to bully him at all. He was being very smart. He was also trying to run his body into them, put himself between them and the ball. And I think that was excellent centre forward play from Hugo Ekitike, and I think he's improving. He's getting there. It might not be the season where he really explodes, even though he's already playing well. But I think next season we would really see a different level from Hugo Ekitike. So it was a good game for the defenders at the back. In the midfield, it was a bit shaky in the first half, but I think in the second half we took absolute control, partly because Newcastle tired a bit in that second half. In the attack, because we played 4-2-3-1 today, we had a forefront, and the three behind the attacker, Hugo Ekitike, were Cody Gakpo on the left, in the middle, Florian Wirtz, and on the right-hand side, Mo Salah. So I think today, Florian Wirtz got a goal. He also got an assist. Excellent play from him. This is exactly what I'm looking for when it comes to Florian Wirtz. I don't want to see him doing flicks and turns and dribbling in the middle of the park or deep in our half. That is fine. It is okay if he does that. But for me, the most important thing is for him to be decisive in the final third. Get the ball in the final third, give an assist, score a goal. That is all I want to see from Florian Wirtz, really. I don't really even care if he doesn't touch a ball outside of the opponent box. I want to see him in and around the opponent's 18-yard area in the final third, making magic, basically, because I think he's an absolute magician and he's good enough to be able to do that on a consistent basis. So I actually did like what I saw from him today. His goal, he took that goal very well. It always looks like he didn't get a good contact on the ball, but it was absolutely the perfect contact and the best place to place the ball to ensure that the goalkeeper doesn't get any chance of saving that. So that was a good game from him today, with the assist and the goal. The assist was also quite spectacular because he did something that no one was expecting except Hugo Ekitike, of course, because the kind of camaraderie and chemistry these two guys are building, it is going to be a massive disaster for opponents if these two guys keep going like this. And I don't know, I'll come back to what this means for the rest of the season, what this means for the top four battle, and so on and so forth. But in terms of the attack, again, Cody Gakpo had a decent game. It wasn't anything great. There were a few opportunities where he could have done better. He cut inside. He could have, in the second half, I think he could have laid the ball back quite quickly. I think he didn't really realize where he was and who was around him. So he delayed a bit and the pass was blocked. The attempted pass was blocked. So he had a few promising positions or promising opportunities, but he couldn't really take advantage of them. So it wasn't a bad game. In the end, he didn't give an assist. He didn't even really influence our attack a lot. But one thing I liked from him today in the first half when we were under the cosh, he got a ball deep in our half and he was able to turn his marker, run into midfield and progress the ball, send the whole team into the final third. And he lost the ball. But I think it was a very good run. It really got the crowd going. They really saw that the players were up for this game and they were really willing to make sure that they get something from this game. So I think that part of his game, we were seeing that at the early stages in his career in Liverpool. These days, he doesn't do that a lot, but I think in the past 2 games, he's done at least once in each game. And that, if he continues like that, then that would be quite helpful for the team. Mo Salah on the right-hand side, I think today didn't have a very, very good game. It was an okay game. In the end, he had an assist for Florian Wirtz's goal, so I won't sit here and criticize him. But I do think that Mo Salah himself knows that he hasn't been having good games lately. Today's performance, when he was taking off around the 83rd minute, he wasn't looking very happy, and I hope that his unhappiness had to do with the fact that he didn't have a very good game and not with the manager, because the manager, for me, should have taken him out a bit earlier than he did. But he did get an assist, and I think sometimes players go through some of these things and they need all the support that they can get. But the fact of the matter is that Mohamed Salah is in this Liverpool team for his attacking output. So if he gets the ball and keeps losing it like the way he did today, then it really, really hurts the team, because he's not really one of the strongest players when Liverpool are out of possession. So if he gets the ball and loses the ball on many occasions like he was doing today, then it doesn't really help the team. It upsets the whole balance of the team. It puts the team under a lot of massive pressure, and that is not good for anybody around Liverpool. So I don't know exactly how this is going to go, but I still don't understand why he's not able to play at Liverpool, because when he came to the AFCON to play with Egypt, he was fine. He didn't look like someone who wasn't sure of what he was doing. He was always assured of what he was doing. But I think in this particular game, he wasn't very good. I didn't like what I saw from him. Hugo Ekitike, man, what can you say about this guy? There are not enough words for you to be able to describe how sensational he's been so far at Liverpool. At times, he's a bit disappointing. He's a bit hard to watch in terms of some of his decisions, but he's also very sensational too. He's an intelligent footballer. He doesn't get bullied off the ball very easily. He knows exactly who is around him, where the opponent is trying to nick the ball from, and he's always trying to put his body in between the man and the ball. He gets the ball for his second goal. It was an excellent play from him. The defender tried to prevent him from cutting inside and shooting, and he said, okay, if you are going to prevent me from cutting inside, then let's go on the left-hand side. Let's try and see if you have the pace to catch me. And obviously, the defender had no answers. And the way he shot the ball with his right foot so quickly, Nick Pope didn't have the opportunity to even dive before the ball went past him. So that was excellent play from him. He actually did save the game, because that particular brilliance that he showed in that moment really flipped the game on its head, because I think we weren't really playing well even before the first goal, and even after we scored the first goal, we weren't really on top. So for him to be able to pull that kind of magic, I think really saved the game. And I think that is what we've been missing for the most part this season, is that even though in previous seasons we in matches where we weren't playing well, we had people like Mane, we had Salah creating magic. They can score from any moment. We don't have to be creating tons on tons of chances. One moment and then they take it and it flips the game on its head. Even last season when we won the league, there were periods in games where we weren't really playing well, we weren't creating chances, we were under pressure, but one ball, one counter attack, and Liverpool are one goal ahead. So I think this season that is what we've missed. But if we can get Florian Wirtz and Hugo Ekitike on fire like they've been in the past few weeks, then that wouldn't be a problem anymore for this Liverpool team. So in terms of what this means for the rest of the season, we are in a top 4, top 5 battle with Chelsea and Manchester United, and it is going to be a very tough top 4, top 5 battle because Liam Rosinia is having a very, very good start to his Chelsea career. Michael Carrick hasn't had a very bad start at all. So far, 2 games, 2 wins. We don't know what will happen against Fulham. But for me, I think that playing and trying to get into the top 5 against these 2 teams is going to be very, very difficult. And so we need to keep winning. We need to take it game by game, and we need to stay focused and consistent. Now, our next game is against Manchester City. Manchester City will be playing against us at home. It is also at Anfield. We have 1 week to prepare for this game. So what I expect is a diligent preparation, an excellent game plan against Manchester City because we know that we can beat them. What happened at the Etihad was absolutely disappointing. It was nothing short of atrocious. And so we need to redeem ourselves. We need to get back at them and get some revenge. So we'll see what happens next Sunday. Good win today. It really feels good to have 2 wins in a row. Also, it's been a long time since Liverpool went a goal down and had to fight back and win the game. We've done it today. I don't think it's happened this season. So maybe, just maybe, this is the turnaround in our season. I actually felt that we've had a turnaround after that long stretch of games without losing. But the defeat against Bournemouth kind of flipped everything on its head. But I do think that was a blip. We are absolutely coming back to our best. And I think that barring any injuries, we should be fine this season. And there seems to be something special brewing in the background. Maybe Champions League final, Champions League win, FA Cup win. I don't know. But I think there is still something special for Liverpool to enjoy this season. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video, smash the subscribe button if you are new here, and also comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. See you again. You never walk alone. Thank you.